you need to look over the themes and the ideas that you already have highlighted in the poem under analysis. Now, the challenge for you is this, that having looked at the themes which are mentioned in that particular poem, or the ideas which are mentioned in that particular poem, you have to connect those themes together in such a manner that you should be able to think of the main idea based upon all those particular sub themes or sub ideas. Now, if we take the example of daffodils, we read it once together, with me as well, in the last class. We read three examples today by three students too. So just from this much observation of this particular poem, you might agree with me that the major themes in the poem seem to be something like this, that the poem is about nature. Okay, the poem is about the poet's uh, involvement in the beauty of the nature, or the poem is about the solacing effects, the pleasing effects of nature on the poet. Or we might also say that the poem is about memory of the good times, of the beautiful scene that the poet has seen in the past, right? Now, this is a very special theme, okay? Depending upon the kind of poem that you want to write your analysis on, there can be variety of themes in various other poems. Okay, so remember the poem we discussed over here, this one, right? This was a sonnet by Shakespeare, and the themes, some of the themes that we came across over here were altogether different. This poem, in fact, compared the worldly riches with the love. And the poem established that the trier of love is more durable and more abiding and more pleasurable as compared to the trier of the world. All right. So you can clearly see how this poem by William Wordsworth is so different from, in terms of its themes, so different from Shakespeare's sonnet. Anyways, coming back to my example. So we have William Wordsworth's poem Daffodils, and we need a thesis statement based upon the themes and the ideas in that particular poem. Okay. Uh, can you give it a try, some of you, and put in the chat box what thesis statement comes to your mind? Let's take the thesis statement in this way. Just one sentence to describe the whole poem. Just one sentence to describe the whole poem. Give it a try. Nothing is right or wrong. But put in the chat box just one sentence to describe William Wordsworth's Daffodils. Students, this is for you to do it. Just one sentence to describe William Wordsworth's Daffodils. Put that in the chat box. Yeah, I'm waiting for the response. Just one sentence to describe William Wordsworth's Daffodils. Okay, so Shahzeb has already put a statement over here. He says it is main idea or theme of a poem upon which it is based. Is that a question or what? Uh, Shazib, I don't get your comment. So I'm moving on to Aliza's comment. A poem that depicts the true beauty of nature. Okay, so Aliza, so let's look at this statement by Aliza. It says this one, a poem that depicts the true beauty of nature. Okay, so I don't need to present right now. I'll come back to presentation. So if we take just this statement, a poem that depicts the true beauty of nature, and then she puts a question mark, probably she wants my comments on that, and she's not certain if that could be the thesis statement of the poem. Well, I think the idea which Aliza has in this short sentence, that idea can be the basis of a thesis statement, but she would have to kind of rephrase it. So we can rephrase this sentence something like that: this poem is about this poem is about or this poem depicts the true beauty of nature, a period. Okay, so at a very basic level, that is a correct thesis statement. Why? Because there are many ideas which can come under this broader idea. So when you say that this poem depicts the true beauty of nature, then you can find so many examples in the poem to support this thesis statement. Hamna says reminiscence of events. Okay. So reminiscence of events, Hamna, is too narrowed way to, that is a limited theme in the whole poem. Okay. Because it is not just events, rather it's a very special kind of event. Okay. There is something involved in that event. So think of a statement which kind of sums up the whole poem. Sasi Rafiq says the theme of this poem is mainly nature, beauty, and its relation with humanity. Okay, so one caution is don't put too many things in the thesis statement. Okay, so you probably can see that you can say that this poem is about the relationship between nature and humanity. Okay, or the relationship between nature and mankind. Ikrashov says nature is superior than anything. Okay, yeah, probably, uh, but do you really find this theme in the poem? That it is superior than anything. Okay, that we need to think. So Shazib says he was telling about thesis statement. Yes, that's right. What you said, yes, that is the main idea in the poem. That's right. I mean, that is how you can understand it. Jalnas says the poem describes how an adult has childlike instincts and enjoys the purest and simplest of things like nature, since the theme of poem is nature and imagination. Okay, so this first sentence could be the thesis statement that the poem is about the relationship between nature and imagination. Aisha Siddiq says the poem diverts the attention from problems, sadness into joy and reflect upon nature. Okay, that could be a thesis statement. Sylvia Roy says nature offers a beauty that goes beyond our limited sight. Okay, that could be the thesis statement, but you need to phrase it in a right manner. So the right manner could be that this poem or the poet presents in this particular poem the uh, the beauty of the nature, which can only be seen through inward eye, or which can only be seen through the eye of the mind. Okay. Anyways, we can't go over all the comments. I need to go back to the presentation. So once you have a thesis statement of this kind, as some of you shared, and I comment on them as well, I hope the slide is shared right now. So once you have that thesis statement, then you need to organize your analysis. So how do you organize your analysis? You organize your analysis with the help of paragraphs. Okay. If you are asked to write, for example, 500 words analysis of a poem, you might like to have 5 paragraphs in the analysis, each paragraph for 100 words. In each paragraph, you can take one sub theme or one sub idea to support your thesis statement. And when you take that sub idea or that sub theme, remember to stay closely in touch with the text of the poem. Integrate quotations from the poem itself. They could be small phrases, they could be words from here and there, from within the poem. So when you analyze the poem, the reader should be able to see that you are actually picking the phrases and words from the poem and explaining it. Now, after you have written 5 paragraphs of analysis, each paragraph dealing with one sub theme or one sub idea, the last step for you would be to document and format your analysis. You either should use MLA, preferably, or if you don't know MLA, only then you should use APA, documentation style. Even if you cite only from this poem, you need to provide citation mentioning which particular line, from which particular line you have taken a word or a line. Now, this is the end of today's lesson. Now, I'll be sharing with you two things. One, an example of writing analysis, an example of analysis of a poem. And in addition to that, I'll be sharing with you a poem, right, for the sake of analysis. I want you to practice the analysis of poem on your own before the next class. And then in the next class, I would ask you a few questions about that particular poem. And then we will do a little bit analysis during the lecture as well, right? And then later I will give you an assignment for writing analysis of the poem as well.